I forced my boyfriend to an open relationship, but now that he is seeing other women I wanted to close it, but he doesn't want to. I, 24F, met Ryan, 26M, at a coffee shop near campus, 3 years ago. It was one of those movie-worthy moments. He spilled his coffee on my laptop, and instead of being angry, I laughed it off. Honestly, his mortified expression was priceless, and the free dinner I scored out of it wasn't bad either. We clicked instantly. He was decent looking, had a stable job, and seemed absolutely smitten with me from day one. Fast forward 2 years, and we were living together in an apartment downtown. Ryan was working as a software developer while I was finishing my master's degree. Our friends called us the perfect couple, and I liked the sound of that. Ryan was predictable. He'd leave little notes in my textbooks, cook for me, clean up after himself, basically husband material, according to my mom. And he was clearly obsessed with me, which, not gonna lie, felt pretty good. But somewhere along the way, I started getting bored. Like, seriously bored. Ryan was the same every day, same routines, same I love yous, same missionary position sex every Tuesday and Saturday. Meanwhile, my Instagram feed was full of friends living their best lives, clubbing in Vegas, hooking up with hot strangers, having actual adventures instead of Netflix marathons and farmers market Sundays. When my friend Zoe suggested I join her for a girls' trip to Miami, I jumped at the chance. Those 5 days away from Ryan were eye-opening. The attention I got from guys at clubs, the flirting, the freedom, it was intoxicating. I didn't technically cheat, but I did let a hot Brazilian guy buy me drinks all night and kiss me on the dance floor. What happens in Miami stays in Miami, right? I came back home with a new perspective. I was 24, hot, and wasting my prime years being practically married to a guy who thought an exciting Friday night was trying a new restaurant and being home by 10. The suggestion, I think we should try an open relationship, I told Ryan one night while he was brushing his teeth. He froze, toothbrush halfway to his mouth. What? An open relationship, I repeated, scrolling through Instagram. You know, where we can see other people, but still be together. It's super common now, everyone's doing it. That wasn't exactly true, but he wouldn't know the difference. Ryan looked at me like I'd just suggested we rob a bank. Where is this coming from, Ellie? Are you not happy with me? It's not that, I said, though it kind of was. I love you. You know that. But we're so young, Ryan. Don't you ever wonder what else is out there? Don't you want to experience more before we just settle for each other? No, he said, looking hurt. I don't wonder, because I found what I want. I found you. God, he could be so dramatic sometimes. So I'd suggested sleeping with other people. It wasn't like I'd told him I was leaving him. If anything, this was better for him too, even if he couldn't see it yet. Over the next few weeks, I couldn't let it go. I brought up the idea repeatedly, showing him articles about how evolved open relationships were, making him listen to podcasts about couples who claimed it had saved their relationships, even dragging him to dinner with my coworker Mark and his wife who had an open marriage, though they looked miserable, which didn't help my case. It would just be physical, I promised, giving him my best puppy dog eyes. Nothing emotional. It wouldn't change what we have. If it wouldn't change anything, why do it? He asked, always with the logical questions. The truth was, I was already chatting with a hot guy from my gym on Instagram, and he'd asked me out twice. I'd said no, because technically I was in a relationship, but I didn't want to keep saying no. And I didn't want to be one of those girls who cheats, so this seemed like the perfect solution. The breaking point. Ryan resisted for months. Our arguments got worse, he even raised his voice once, which he'd never done before. I could see it was bothering him, but I couldn't understand why he was being so stubborn. It's not like I was asking him to do anything crazy, just to let me have a little fun while still coming home to him. If you really loved me, you'd at least try, I said during a particularly heated argument. Love means supporting your partner's needs, and this is something I need. Ryan looked like I'd slapped him. That's manipulative, Ellie. Whatever, I snapped. I'm just being honest. Maybe you don't love me as much as you claim to. 2 days later, Ryan came to me with red-rimmed eyes. Okay, he said. We can try it. For 3 months. But with rules. Finally. I agreed eagerly as he listed his conditions: no mutual friends, full disclosure, protection always, regular check-ins, and the right to veto anyone who made the other uncomfortable. Sure, I said, already planning which outfit I'd wear on my first date. This is going to be great for us, you'll see. Ryan just nodded, not looking convinced. The first few weeks of our open relationship were amazing. I downloaded all the dating apps, went on dates 3 times a week, and hooked up with a Spanish exchange student who did things in bed that Ryan had never even heard of. The attention was intoxicating, all these hot guys wanting me, messaging me, while I still had the security of Ryan waiting at home. Ryan, on the other hand, didn't seem to be taking advantage of our new arrangement. When I asked, he shrugged and said he'd been on a couple of coffee dates, but wasn't really interested in pursuing anything physical. That defeats the whole purpose, I told him, irritated that he wasn't even trying. You should be out there having fun too. The purpose for you, maybe, he replied. Whatever. More options for me. By month 2, I had a regular thing going with Alex, a tattooed musician I'd met at a bar. He was everything Ryan wasn't: spontaneous, edgy, with an actual personality beyond his job and his stupid video games. The sex was mind-blowing, and even though our rule was to not stay overnight with others, I found myself making excuses to spend more time with Alex. Once I even told Ryan I was at a study group when I was actually at Alex's apartment. Meanwhile, Ryan was becoming increasingly distant. He stopped asking about my day, stopped suggesting date nights, and spent more time at the gym or working late. When I confronted him about it, he claimed nothing had changed. But he'd stopped saying "I love you" unless I said it first, which was annoying. The breaking point came when I canceled our anniversary dinner, a reservation Ryan had made weeks in advance, because Alex had surprise tickets to a concert I'd been dying to see. It's fine, Ryan said when I told him, his voice flat. Have fun. Don't be passive-aggressive, I snapped. If you have a problem, just say it. I'm not being passive-aggressive. Go to your concert. I hope you have a good time. I did have a good time. Alex was attentive all night, bought me drinks, and we ended up back at his place. I didn't get home until 4 a.m., to find Ryan asleep on the couch with an unopened bottle of wine and wilted flowers on the coffee table. For a split second, I felt bad, but then I reminded myself that this was what we'd agreed to. If Ryan wasn't taking advantage of his freedom, that was his problem, not mine. A week later, I came home from a spa day with Zoe to find Ryan packing a duffel bag. Where are you going? I asked, surprised. He hadn't mentioned any trips. I'm going to stay at Jason's for a while, he said, referring to his best friend. I need some space. Space? What are you talking about? This was coming out of nowhere. Is this because of the anniversary thing? I said I was sorry about that. No, you didn't, a small voice in my head reminded me, but I ignored it. It's not just the anniversary, Ryan said, still folding clothes calmly. It's everything. This isn't working for me, Ellie. What isn't working? Our relationship? The open relationship, he clarified. I thought I could do it, for you, but I can't. It's making me miserable. So we'll close it, I said immediately. Easy fix. We'll go back to being exclusive. Ryan finally looked at me, and the sadness in his eyes caught me off guard. I met someone, he said quietly. My heart dropped. What do you mean, you met someone? I thought you weren't even interested in this open relationship thing. I wasn't. I'm still not. But a couple weeks ago, I went to that programming meetup, and there was this woman there, Mia. We got talking, and... He trailed off, looking conflicted. It wasn't supposed to happen. But she listened to me, really listened, in a way I haven't felt in a long time. Have you slept with her? I demanded, suddenly furious. This wasn't how this was supposed to go. Ryan was supposed to be home, waiting for me, not out finding someone else. No, Ryan said. We've just been talking. A lot. But I think there might be something there. So break it off, I demanded. That was the deal. Either of us could veto. Ryan's eyes met mine, and I didn't like what I saw there. The thing is, Ellie, I'm not sure I want to break it off. This whole open relationship thing has made me realize something. I don't think we want the same things anymore. Are you seriously picking some random girl over me? After 3 years? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. We live together, Ryan. We have a life together. It's not about Mia, he insisted. It's about us. About what this whole situation has shown me. You wanted the freedom to be with other people while keeping me as a safety net. And I wanted a partner who was fully committed to me. Neither of us is wrong, we just want different things. That's bullshit, I said, tears springing to my eyes. I love you. I've always loved you. I just wanted to have some fun. At my expense, Ryan said softly. And that's the problem. You didn't care how much it hurt me, as long as you got what you wanted. That's not fair. Isn't it? He zipped up his bag. I'll come back for the rest of my stuff later this week. I paid my share of the rent through the end of the month, so you have time to figure out what you want to do about the apartment. And just like that, he was gone, leaving me standing in my living room, wondering what the hell had just happened. I spent the next few days in a state of shock. This wasn't how things were supposed to go. Ryan was supposed to be the stable one, the one who stayed no matter what. That was our dynamic, I pushed boundaries, he accommodated. That's how it had always been. I called him repeatedly, but he only answered once, to reiterate that he needed space to think. Space from what? I demanded. From me? Or space to be with Mia? This isn't about Mia, he insisted. This is about us. About the fact that I allowed myself to be pushed into something that violated my values, because I was afraid of losing you. And in the process, I lost myself. Oh my God, stop being so dramatic, I snapped. You're acting like I forced you to do something terrible. All I did was suggest we spice things up a bit. You didn't suggest it, Ellie. You demanded it. And when I said no, you manipulated me until I gave in. That's not how it happened. I protested, but even as I said it, I knew there was some truth to his words. I had pushed, repeatedly, despite his clear discomfort. But it was for his own good, for our good as a couple. Why couldn't he see that? I think we need to accept that it's over, Ryan said, his voice resigned. We want fundamentally different things from a relationship. No, I said firmly. We're not over. You're just having a tantrum because I got to have more fun than you did. Once you calm down, we'll talk about this rationally. He sighed. Goodbye, Ellie. Ryan came back for the rest of his things the following Saturday, with Jason and another friend to help. I tried to talk to him, to make him see reason, but he kept the conversation focused on practical matters, how to handle the lease, splitting up our shared possessions, returning each other's belongings. Can we please just talk about us? I pleaded as they were loading the last boxes into Jason's truck. There is no us anymore, Ellie, Ryan said, his voice gentle, but firm. I'm sorry. This is about her, isn't it? About Mia. I spat the name like a curse. No, it's not. But even if it was, you're seeing Alex, right? How is that any different? It's completely different. Alex is just physical. You're having an emotional affair. Ryan looked at me for a long moment. The fact that you think that's better says everything about why we're not compatible. And with that, he was gone. Again. I called Alex immediately, needing the validation, the distraction, something to fill the sudden emptiness. But the call went to voicemail, and he didn't call back. Over the next few weeks, I threw myself into dating with even more fervor than before. If Ryan wanted to play this game, fine. I'd show him exactly what he was missing. I posted pictures of myself at clubs, with guys, looking hot and having fun. I made sure they were public so Ryan would see them. I even went out with his coworker's roommate, hoping word would get back to him. Meanwhile, I obsessively stalked Ryan's social media for any sign of this Mia person. It didn't take long to find her, a plain-looking brunette with glasses who posted about books and coding projects. She wasn't even pretty. What could Ryan possibly see in her? And yet, 3 weeks after our breakup, there it was, a photo of them together at some tech conference, Ryan smiling in a way I hadn't seen in months. The caption read, "Great day at DEFCON with this brilliant woman." Hashtag blessed, blessed? Blessed? Ryan never used hashtags, let alone cheesy ones like hashtag blessed. This woman was clearly changing him, and not for the better. I screenshot the photo and sent it to Zoe with a string of crying emojis. "He looks happy," she texted back, which was not the response I was looking for. "He's clearly trying to make me jealous," I replied. "He knows I check his Instagram." "Maybe," Zoe said. "Or maybe he's just moving on." "Maybe you should too." "I am moving on," I typed furiously. "I have 3 dates this weekend." But the truth was, none of those dates meant anything. They were just distractions, ways to fill the Ryan-shaped hole in my life. After a month of meaningless hookups and increasingly desperate social media posts, I decided enough was enough. Ryan had made his point. He'd punished me for wanting to open our relationship. Surely he was ready to come back now, to try again with new boundaries. I texted him asking to meet for coffee, just to talk. To my surprise, he agreed. We met at a cafe halfway between our old apartment and his new place, with Jason, he said, not with Mia, which I took as a good sign. He looked good, too good, like he'd been working out more, and was that a new haircut? "How are you?" he asked, and he seemed genuinely interested in the answer. "I've been thinking about us," I said, skipping the small talk. "About what went wrong. And I think we can fix it." Ryan's expression softened into something like pity, which irritated me. "Ellie, just hear me out," I interrupted. "I know I pushed for something you weren't comfortable with. And I'm sorry. I really am. But we can start fresh. Go back to being exclusive. Set better boundaries. Maybe try couples therapy." "I'm seeing Mia," he said quietly. The words hit me like a slap. "What?" "I'm in a relationship with Mia now. An exclusive one. It's only been a month." I protested. "You can't possibly be serious about her already." "It's not about the time," Ryan said. "It's about the connection. The shared values. The mutual respect." "Are you saying I didn't respect you?" I demanded, my voice rising enough that people at nearby tables glanced over. "Yes," Ryan said simply. "You didn't. Not when it mattered most." "That's not fair. I respected you plenty. Just because I wanted to try something different." "It's not about what you wanted," Ryan interrupted, which he rarely did. "It's about how you handled it when I said no. You dismissed my feelings, manipulated me, made me feel like I was the unreasonable one for wanting monogamy. That's not respect, Ellie. That's selfishness." "Oh, so I'm selfish now?" I fought back tears. This wasn't going at all how I'd planned. "What about you? You agreed to an open relationship and then got all mopey about it instead of enjoying it. You made me feel guilty for having fun." Ryan sighed. "This is exactly what I mean. You still don't get it. You see this entirely from your perspective. You can't even acknowledge that what you did hurt me." "Fine. It hurt you. I'm sorry. There, is that what you wanted to hear? I wanted it to be genuine, Ryan said, standing up. He hadn't even touched his coffee. I think this was a mistake. Goodbye, Ellie. I wish you the best, I really do. But we're done. After Ryan left, I sat in that cafe for hours, cycling through anger, disbelief, and confusion. How had this happened? How had I lost the most stable, loving relationship of my life? And for what? A few months of excitement that now felt hollow and meaningless? I kept replaying our conversation, trying to understand where I'd gone wrong. Ryan made it sound like I was some kind of monster who had forced him into something terrible. All I'd done was suggest an arrangement that thousands of couples have. How was that so horrible? I texted Zoe, Ryan's officially dating Mia now. Says we're done for good. She called me immediately. I'm sorry, babe. That sucks. Want me to come over with wine and ice cream? Hours later, sprawled on my couch surrounded by empty Ben and Jerry's containers, I poured my heart out to Zoe. I just don't get why he's so mad, I said for the 10th time. Lots of couples try open relationships. It's not like I cheated on him. Zoe, who'd been sympathetic all night, finally gave me a look. Do you really not see it? See what? You badgered him into something he didn't want, completely dismissed his feelings, and then got pissed when he found someone who actually respected his boundaries. If a guy did that to me, I'd be out so fast his head would spin. I stared at her, betrayed. Whose side are you on? Yours, always. But that doesn't mean I can't see why Ryan's upset. So what, I'm the villain in this story? I asked incredulously. Not a villain, Zoe said carefully. Just, maybe a bit self-centered in this particular situation. I cannot believe you're taking his side, I said, genuinely hurt. I'm not taking sides, Zoe sighed. I'm just saying, maybe there's a lesson here. About respecting people's boundaries, even when they're different from your own. But I didn't want to hear it. Ryan was the one who had given up on us. Ryan was the one who had moved on so quickly. Ryan was the one in the wrong here, not me. 6 months later life went on. I dated more, partied more, posted more Instagram stories of my amazing single life. I even slept with Ryan's friend Dave, not Jason. He was too loyal to Ryan, but Dave was fair game, partly because I was attracted to him and partly because I knew it would get back to Ryan. But underneath the glittery facade of my social media life, things weren't great. I'd had to get a roommate to afford the apartment, my grades had slipped due to all the partying, and none of the guys I dated seemed interested in anything beyond a few weeks of fun. Meanwhile, Ryan's social media showed a different picture. He and Mia were still together, looking disgustingly happy. He'd gotten a promotion, moved into a nicer apartment, even adopted a dog with her. A dog. We'd talked about getting a dog for years, but Ryan had always said he wasn't ready for that kind of commitment. The final straw came when I saw their engagement announcement. 6 months. They'd been together 6 months, and he was proposing. We'd been together 3 years and the closest he'd come to proposing was a vague someday when I'd brought it up. I was furious. And hurt. And confused. How had this happened? How had I lost the future I thought was certain? All because I wanted a little freedom, a little excitement? I did the only rational thing, I got drunk and texted him. Congrats on the engagement. Didn't realize you were so desperate to lock someone down. Hope she knows what she's getting into with your control issues. His response came the next morning, when I was nursing a hangover and already regretting the text. Thanks for the well wishes. I hope you find what you're looking for, Ellie. Take care. So formal. So final. Not even a hint of the Ryan I used to know, the one who would have been hurt by my words, who would have tried to make peace. As I stared at his message, a question formed in my mind that I hadn't allowed myself to consider before. What if he wasn't the problem? What if it was me all along? But I quickly pushed the thought away. No, Ryan was clearly just trying to prove something with this rushed engagement. It would probably fall apart within months, and then he'd realize what he'd thrown away. I just had to wait. And if it didn't fall apart, well, that wasn't my problem anymore, was it? I was young, hot, and free. I could do whatever I wanted, with whoever I wanted. Isn't that what I'd wanted all along? So why did it feel so empty? TLDR, pressured my boyfriend into an open relationship because I wanted to sleep around while keeping him as a security blanket. I had fun with hot guys while he moped around, then he met some plain Jane who listened to him or whatever. Now he's dumped me, is engaged to her after only 6 months, and I still don't understand why he's so mad at me. Ida? Edit, wow, y'all are harsh. If you didn't want honest answers, maybe don't ask for judgment on AITA? Whatever, clearly none of you understand what I was going through. Ryan was boring and I just wanted some excitement. That doesn't make me the devil. But thanks for all the nasty DMs, really classy.